Welcome back to Boy Band Break, where we encourage you to take a break and listen to us talk about some boy bands. If you did not listen to our premiere episode, we're here to talk about all your favorite boy bands. And so just kick back, relax. My name is Dianne.
My name is Sofia.
My name is Cinzia.
And thank you for tuning in. If this is your second episode, welcome back. We appreciate you. So for our second episode, I thought it would be appropriate to talk about your boy band firsts. So, you know, popping that cherry. I don't know why you guys are staring at me like this is so weird, but like your first experiences with boy band. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Sure, go for it, buddy.
Because in the second episode, you should talk about your firsts for sure.
Sure.
No one thinks that's funny. It's like crickets in here. I hope you guys are laughing at home because these two are staring at me like I'm nuts.
Again, I'd like to point out that Diane does not tell us the topics ahead of time, so we will now.
I want a pure reaction.
So this is our pure reaction.
Crickets, apparently. All right. Sorry, guys. Sorry if that wasn't
Horrification.
funny. So I want to know, what is the first boy band you remember listening to? Like being a fan of, listening to, buying their CDs, that kind of thing.
Okay, so mine was All For One. So it was before the Backstreet Boys. And it was I Swear was my favorite song.
So if you listen to the first episode, we did not remember that I Swear was their song.
Yes, so I looked it up.
We also debated if that was a real boy band. So do you feel like that counts?
Well, because that's the song that I liked, I'm going to say yes for my first experience.
So that was like you had their CD, you were like a definite fan.
Yes.
All
Before
For
the
One.
Backstreet Boys, yes.
Cool. Cinzia?
Okay, so I did not listen to music until I got to high school because my mom was not allowed to listen to music when she was young. So we'd always be listening to oldies. So in grade 9, I don't know if you consider this a boy band. Hanson, I would say, was like the big
More of a boy band than All For One, even.
Like writing stuff on
Probably,
my face,
yes.
going to concerts and stuff. That was my first concert. Was, I don't know if that's being asked later, was also Hanson. And we were in the lawns at the Molson Amphitheater, and we thought it was like the most amazing seats ever because we're nuts. And we got to meet their dad, and we're like, oh my God, it's Walker. We're like so pumped. So I would guess Hanson, and then it kind of Backstreet and NSYNC would be where I went next with that.
Mine is kind of, I mean, I remember listening to New Kids on the Block. I definitely was not a fan. I hated them, actually. I think I've told you guys this story. Like when I was in second grade, I knew how to read, and I was like a total nerd. But they still had like what we called reading buddies, which is just like older kids would come in and they would read with you to like help improve your reading skills. And as the nerd that I am, I wanted to read. I wanted to like impress my grade 8 reading buddy and be like, look at this book I can read. Instead, my grade 8 reading buddy wanted to listen to New Kids on the Block. And I was just like, I hate New Kids on the Block. I just want to read. And this girl wants to listen to New Kids on the Block. And she like made me listen to their songs on her Walkman and was like, sing along. And I was like, I don't want to. And she was like, come on. Just, oh. And I was like, oh,
I just want to read.
I just want to read my books. So I don't know if that counts. I don't. First boy band I was like really a fan of. It's kind of different. I was definitely a fan of Boyz II Men.
Okay.
It was like right around the time they released that song with Mariah Carey, and I was just like into it. Totally. Had their like cassette tape and like played it in my living room and danced around. Like I was here for that.
Cool.
Okay, so yes, Cinzia kind of already said hers, but what was the first boy band concert you attended?
My first concert was the Backstreet Boys at the Sky Dome, November 11th, 1999. Remembrance Day. And I remember that because Kevin did a moment of silence.
Why is it funny?
I love that this is what you remember the exact
I
day.
remember this. I also remember the boys.
I attended the same concert. I remember everything about that day.
Flying through the sky on surfboards. I remember AJ's shirt being open, like right beside us. So yeah.
So yeah,
That was
Cinzia
my-
kind of already told hers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was also 14 years old, so it was like the best experience ever at that time.
I was 14 at my Hanson concert.
Excellent.
So that was your first concert ever also?
No, we went to a tribute concert once, and I can't remember what it was for. Oh, no, obviously we went to like Fred Penner and Sharon Wilson.
Yeah, but that
Graham.
doesn't count.
But then I can't remember. My mom took us to a tribute concert, and the highlight of it was my dad falling asleep and snoring, and the people in front of him turning around and laughing at him, and me pulling out a loose tooth, and it had like a happy face in it. Like,
Weird.
yes, that's what I remember from my first like real concert.
Okay, so my first concert and my first boy band concert was this same concert that's Cinzia. Why do I keep messing up your names?
No idea.
Sophia's
We haven't
talking
been
about.
friends for 7 years.
7-8 years.
November 11th, 1999, Skydome, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. First concert ever, first boy band concert ever. Could not have been more excited. Like, I don't think it's possible. Like, you if you're picturing like Beliebers or like Directioners right now, that was me in 1999. Like, I showed up at my cousin's house because we were going together, and she opened the door, and we just stood in the doorway screaming at each other until my aunt was like, okay, come inside. Like, you're not even there yet. Like, we were just like beside ourselves. But I could not believe I was breathing the same oxygen as Nick Carter. Like, it was unbelievable to me.
Yes.
And I was like nosebleeds, screaming my face off.
We were also in the nosebleeds.
Amazing.
But it was like completely epic.
Did they do another show in the following January?
March.
Okay, but they were at Much Music for the Intimate and Interactive
Yes.
in 2000.
For
My
Black
mom
and
had
Blue.
tried to get me tickets for that 99 concert, but it was totally
Oh,
sold
no,
out.
forget it.
Oh,
And it was,
excellent,
like,
excellent
Yes.
story.
Super expensive.
Yes.
I tried to get tickets to the Backstreet Boys concert that was like in 97 at like Molson Amphitheater or something, but epically failed because I was like 12 and had no idea what I was doing. And then I'm pretty sure I spent like that entire day that the concert was happening like crying. So my mom was like, please stop. And next time they come, I promise we're going to get tickets. So I was like, okay. So 99 rolls around and I'm like, we're getting the tickets. Like, you know? And at that time, I don't know how it worked in the States or like if this was like everywhere, but like here in Canada, you had to go to the mall in advance. They would give you a wristband, and then you'd show up on the Saturday that the tickets went on sale, and everyone would be in this huge line, and they would pick one random number from the list of wristbands, and that person got to be first. I guess it did. It prevented people from lining up like days in advance and camping out to get the tickets.
But that definitely had strategy involved because when we would go get our NSYNC tickets and stuff, we would go on different days and times. So we would be mixed throughout the group. So you wouldn't have.
Well,
the
I don't
first
know about
ticket.
NSYNC, but the Backstreet Boy wristbands would, they'd be done in a day. Like if you didn't go the first day,
But like
started.
we would like space it out that we would not go down at
But
the same
100%,
time.
yes,
'cause
we'd go-
we'd go to Cops Coliseum and get our wristband.
Yeah.
So we'd be like, okay, so we knew our group of 3 or 4 people, and we would split it up. So okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you would
Later on-
also be calling on the phone to Ottawa to try to get the tickets from there instead of the Toronto one.
I didn't
to
know
see if
that.
that's how we got 5th row for NSYNC. So
See, I didn't know that at the time.
Amazing.
That
And the
one.
first time we didn't know about the spacing at the time. We definitely did that later on. But the first time we didn't know. So literally just me and my mom went, and we went at the exact same time. But the guy at the store was like, this will guarantee you tickets. Like, you will for sure get tickets with this wristband. Lies. It was total lies because whatever the wristband number that got picked, we ended up at the back of the line. Like, I swear we weren't the last person, but we were one of the last people. And we got up to the counter after waiting in the snow and cold outside to get these tickets. And they were like, they're sold out. I don't think I've ever been more depressed in my life. I was like, you thought I was sad on that 97 concert day? This was insanity. Luckily, I knew someone who had got some tickets from work. So I was able to go anyways, but
Sophia, you had an interesting way of getting into that concert.
I
didn't
also
you?
had, yes, a very interesting story. So my cousin's boyfriend, who's now her husband at the time, worked at the Sky Dome and was like, oh, I'm more than happy to let you guys in to the concert. So what we did was we drove into the parking lot around 8 o'clock, right before the concert started. And her boyfriend got us in the back door. Then we walked all the way up to the 500 levels, waited until the security guards went by, and then just hopped over the seats into a couple seats that were free. And there was our seats for the night.
Amazing.
So every day of my life, I've always thanked my cousin and her husband for getting me those seats.
Crazy.
And that was my first experience.
Wow.
I could never sit in those seats ever again.
At the time, it seemed amazing.
But at that time, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best feeling ever. And it was with my best friend at the time and her best friend, so it was
They
fantastic.
all snuck in too, or you just have
Everybody together.
insane.
Yes.
I can't believe there was that many seats free.
Yeah, there was but it was all the way at the top, so probably
I
nobody.
was nosebleeds, but like a little bit further down. I feel like it was 200 section maybe. These were like corporate seats.
Ooh, fancy.
Look at you.
All right,
So,
so,
yes.
moving a little into more recent history, where boy bands are more accessible and we don't have to sneak into their concerts and like, line up for days to get tickets to their concerts. What's the first boy band you met or boy band member? Like if you met one member of the band prior to meeting the entire band, I'll say that counts.
Okay, so my first member that I met was Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys.
Okay.
And he was the easiest one of the 5.
So where did you meet him? How did it happen?
So Nick did like birthday after parties for his birthday. So he had one in Toronto. It wasn't the greatest. So because that experience wasn't the greatest, I went to Ottawa as well with my friends, and that experience was way better.
So you actually met him at that? Like
Yes.
you actually consider it a meeting?
It was because we got selfies and
okay.
that kind of thing. Yeah.
You got a selfie in 2009?
We sure did.
How?
We worked that shit so hard.
Like with a cell phone or with a camera?
I want to say it
a
was.
camera.
I want to say it was a camera.
Like a digital camera, probably.
So that was like back in the days where you'd like take your digital camera and turn it around and like hope you were taking a selfie, right?
Oh yeah.
Good times.
But he did an okay job with it.
He
So
has gotten so much better with selfies.
I'll take it. And he took 2 because he wanted to make sure.
That's good.
So
I
yeah.
know a lot of
Okay,
people don't
okay.
really like the Nick selfie, but I appreciate it because he's taller and it like decreases my chin size. So
Yes. So then after I met Nick, it was Brian, and I met him at the Healthy Heart Club event
Right,
in
you were in
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yes.
So then what was the first time you met a band in tandem, like the whole band?
It was in 2009 for the Unbreakable tour
Okay.
was that the one at the?
in Toronto at the Molson Amphitheater, where Cinzia also went.
Was that your first though? I don't think that was your first.
I believe the first boy band I met was NSYNC,
Yeah.
and that was at the Pickering Town Center. They were doing an autograph signing, and it was during a school day, obviously. But I
Obviously.
don't even know how we found out about it. But we're like, cool. So it was like me, Lydia, obviously, my sister, Gina, some other girl we went to school with, and my grandmother.
Amazing.
We took the GO bus from Hamilton to Pickering. Sorry, the GO train, which stops every friggin' 5 seconds and took us like 3 hours to get there. And I almost, when we got there, I like leaped off the train and almost broke my ankle, which was amazing. Then we took a bus. I remember it only costing 50 cents. I was like, this is amazing. And literally, it was right behind the GO station. And then we're running through the malls like maniacs trying to find a spot. And then we finally get there. And they're like, yeah, here's a wristband because they were giving out the first 200 people. So we ended up getting it. And I just remember I couldn't see at the time. So my grandmother went into one of the stores and got a stool for me to stand on to take pictures.
Oh, that's cute.
And so we ended up going up there. And Chris was first. And Chris was my favorite. And it was just like, it was good times. So I'm like, hey, I came 3.5 hours on a train to see you. Can I have a hug? And he said, sure. So he went to go stand up, and then his bodyguard pushed him down. He's like, no hugs. So then Chris was like, oh, I'm sorry. And he was like holding my hand. And then he wrote love, which nobody else got. And then I I remember going, next was JC, and I was I was depressed that I didn't get to hug Chris, so I didn't even talk to JC. So JC just like signed or whatever. Then I get to Joey, and he's all like, hey, and all like happy and like shaking my hands, and I'm like, hey, and I like kind of probably had tears in my eyes because of the Chris thing, but I was like, okay. And I was like, shoot, I did not say hi to JC or touch JC. So then I like remember JC was signing like Lydia's thing, and I remember reaching out and poking his hand because I was like, okay, I've touched JC, we're good. And then Joey's there, and then Lance was next, and he was like, hey, and he was all happy and went to like shake my hand, but he was holding a Sharpie at the time and had a very firm handshake. So I remember like this Sharpie like piercing into my hands, and I was like, this is so painful, but Lance is shaking my hand, so I'm just gonna go with this. And I was like, okay, great. And then I got to Justin, who was my least favorite at the time and still is. Hate him. I don't even think we even talked to him because he was just like looking around at the girls on the second floor, and he just like signed the thing, and I was like, whatever. I got to see the other four. And I remember going down, and Gina, Justin was her favorite, was so pumped, and she's like, oh my God, you don't understand what Justin just said to me. And I was like, okay, what did Justin just say to you? She's like, oh my God. So I said, thank you. And then he said, no, thank you. So no, thank you was like, she's like, it was the best thing ever. And I was like, yeah, well, Chris wrote love on my card. So like, and I also have to say it was my first autograph signing. So I didn't know you had to bring your own stuff. So while we were waiting there, Gina's like, oh yeah, I have like all these clippings. And I was like, I don't have anything for them to sign. She's like, yeah, no worries. So she gives me like, I swear to God, the ugliest picture of NSYNC. Like it is like, Chris looks horrendous. Like, shut up. He's beautiful in my eyes. But it was just like everyone just looked terrible in this picture. And yet I was just like, okay, well, it's, it's my autograph. April 17th, 1998 is my NSYNC anniversary.
Oh, but it's so weird that we remember the date of our first.
I just remembered that the date, yes. So April 17th, 1998 was when I met NSYNC. And the first Backstreet Boy person I met was Howie when he was doing a fundraiser for the Jerome Lupus Foundation. I was like, I'm never going to meet a Backstreet Boy. He's in Toronto. And I lied to my mom because I didn't drive at the time. And I was like, hey, do you want to go on a dinner cruise with Howie from the Backstreet Boys? And she's just like, oh, how much is it? I was like, oh, it's only $50, which it was not $50. I think it was $100 or $150. I can't remember regardless of what the other amount was. I told my mom it was only $50 and I subsidized the rest. And actually, I think I even paid for her ticket. But she's like, oh, this is so much fun. I really like Howie. And then afterwards, like years later, she's like, how much was that thing? What are you talking about? So, and then the next year, he did another fundraiser, and I went to lunch with him because I won that. So that was fun. So yes.
Amazing. First boy band I met was O-Town. It was 2000.
Tragic story.
It was 2001. They know this story. It was 2001. And my friend won a radio contest. I won't say the name of the radio station. Again, I don't know. Are we going to get sued for this?
Why would you get sued?
Well, it was Kiss 92. But this was like 2001 Kiss 92.
Yeah.
Like,
Tarzan Dan.
yeah. If you live in the GTA, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, and they used to run these contests. This was insanity, where you would go with your car to like where they were broadcasting live on location from like the Brick or like some auto dealership or something.
We still do that.
Yeah, they still do this. They just don't run these contests anymore.
I do not work for Kiss 92.
And if you were the 92nd car, you would win. They would like pull out of a bag and you would win, tickets to whatever they were promoting that time. So this time was O-Town, and you could win 5th row, 4th row, 2nd row, 3rd row, or 1st row. I don't know why I inverted 2 and 3. That's gonna bother me later.
Excellent counting, teach.
And you could also possibly win front row tickets and backstage passes. So my friend went there with her mom. She was the 92nd car, and lo and behold, she wins front row tickets and backstage passes. We were freaking out. Like, we were like, oh my God, we're gonna meet O-Town. So day comes. Everybody who's met boy bands at this point knows how the story goes. Go over here, line up over here, now move over here.
Wait 10,000 hours.
It was the same thing in 2001, guys. It was a lot of hurry up and wait. They finally come. And they're like, okay, no hugs, no pictures, la la la. And we're like, we don't get a picture with them? And they're like, we'll take a picture for you. So we go up. My friend went first. I went second. And it was, I believe, Jacob, Ashley, Dan, Eric, Trevor. So I go up to Jacob. He's just kind of like, hi, whatever. It wasn't a very interesting interaction. Then I go up to Ashley, who was my favorite at the time, but now I think is kind of ridiculous.
Although if you'd like to look him up on Instagram, he's half naked.
He's half naked
time.
a lot. He's still pretty good looking, but he's just
no longer with O-Town.
No longer in a boy band, so we don't care about him that much. But he was actually really nice. He was like, oh, hi, it's so nice to meet you, la, la, la. And he was like, what's your name? And in my head, I'm like, holy shit, he's going to know my name. So I'm like, oh, my name's Dianne. And he was like, oh, nice to meet you, Dianne. And then he goes, I forgot to ask your friend her name. And I was like, oh, okay, her name's Genevieve. And he's like, what? I'm like, yes, French name, Genevieve. And he's like, oh, okay, Genevieve. And so she hears this and she's like, yeah. And he's like, hi. And she was like, hi. Because she's like already at Eric at this point. I think this might have been when they were like, turn around, take the picture. Dan and Eric, they're shouting at us, hurry up, no hugs, la la la. So Dan and Eric, hi, whatever. I get to Trevor and he's like, oh, hey, and like gives me this huge hug. And at this point, my friend is gone. I'm there. The next people are waiting to come. And I can hear the bodyguard screaming, no hugs, hurry up. And Trevor's like, don't leave. And I was like, okay. And we're just hugging for a solid like 30 seconds. I think he was just doing it to piss the people off. But I was just like, oh my God, what's happening? I don't want to leave. But like on the other hand, people are screaming at me. And then he was like, okay, bye. And we're like, cool, we leave. I have a mini like fucking panic attack because I'm just like, I can't believe that happened. Concert happens, all this stuff. It was amazing. Do you think I ever got that picture?
No.
Did you?
No, I did not. I'm pretty sure there was no film in the camera. We phoned the radio station, I don't know how many times. They were like, I don't know what you're talking about. What picture? La, la, la. We're like, there was a man taking pictures. He said we weren't allowed to take our own pictures. They were going to take the picture for us. No pictures. Yeah. If there's a picture, they'll mail it to you. There was no, we never provided our address. Like,
horrible.
The worst.
So it was good, but it's a little bit tainted. It's a little bit tainted. My
Damn you,
2000
Clearly, you're going to need to take another picture with them.
Yeah, I haven't really met them since 2001. It's kind of sad. Attended concerts, but not met them since 2001.
I think we need to remedy that.
We'll see.
One of those days.
Well, on that note, we'll wrap up this second episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Until next time.
I don't know what I'm saying. Hey, thanks for listening.
She said until next time, and I said until next time, and I said until next time, and I said